What's cooking, folks? Vermillion Phoenix here, and today we're jumping into some more Orcs Must Die Unchained. This time we're heading into the Confluence with Cygnus. Well, the Confluence isn't a particularly great map for Cygnus, though there are some things you can do to make sure that ultimately you have far fewer issues with getting everything set up. First thing is I'm going to be taking some ballista with me. You can choose to take ballista or you can take lightning rods. Either are okay. I think you may have a bit better success with the ballista than you will with the lightning rods. You can choose to take dragon's lance or ceiling ballista, whatever works for you. The lances will be slightly cheaper, but won't have too much synergy with the deck, not with you playing Cygnus anyway. Unless you decide to just take like maybe some different floor traps. I'm going to take the Spitfire wall, and I'm going to take the swinging mace. And for the most part, these are going to deal the majority of the damage. We have our discounts, fire sale, and smashing deals to make the fire and physical traps just a bit less expensive. And wall building PhD, of course, for the wall strength. There are some kamikaze enemies on this map. They can blow up your barricades or your guardians, and placing the barricades where I place them is going to just give them a buffer, likely absorb most of that damage. So if possible, you want to make sure that you kill them before they actually get there. Gonna take the Mage's Clover. We don't need the Ring of Storms. We already deal lightning damage, and we deal a lot of it. The Firewall Bracer is good for some kobold waves that you'll be getting out of this rear gate here, though. So let's jump in and see what this looks like.
You may find yourselves in awe of me. Do not stop fighting if this happens.
All right. So first thing we're going to do is place our Guardian there. I'm going to block off this area and this one. So enemies will have to pass all the way around. Make sure that this corner touches the wall before hitting the second pillar. Otherwise, you have not completely blocked this off. And now you don't need to place a barricade here, but if not, then you'll have to place 2 lanes worth of traps. And the cost of the barricade itself is kind of worth it, even if you lose it, just to make sure that you're not having to trap any more than you really need to. Now we're just a few coins short of being able to place the swinging mace. If you want, you can drop the Spitfire and do the swinging mace first. Really shouldn't have that much of an impact, but either way, it should work really well. The stable hand should start hitting things back here really before they get anywhere near them. The only time you'll have to worry about it is when you have
broken through a gate.
Shield trolls. Shield trolls will be able to block the majority of his damage, and they'll only take damage from fire traps, which is really where that Spitfire comes into play.
I am not cleaning that up.
Want to back up so that those guys get the opportunity to set themselves up. And moving sort of behind your Guardian, as well as having the Viscous Tar after the trap back there, gives you a very good opportunity to just summon your Rift Shards, as well as pretty much anything else you want to do. I could place another one of those, but I'm going to do this instead. And then we are going to drop 2 of these.
An unstable rift is opening.
I'm going to go around the rear to take care of that rift. That will prevent me from pulling any enemies.
Well done. The unstable rift has been destroyed.
You do not belong here.
So you want to get one more of these Oh wow, he actually managed to get all the way out. The enemies have to get all the way back here before they will realize they can't pass to the rift and turn around, which is why I like this setup. But if you don't have enough slows, then you can run into some issues. Alright, and now is when we have our explosive kamikaze buddies. You can kill the first wave relatively easy.
The rift will be protected.
They should be coming in just a moment or two. It looks like I may have charged in a bit too soon for him though. There we go. So, well, they got me once. One isn't enough to actually wreck your setup though, which is good. Gonna grab Paternal Instinct. Don't let him fire off an attack, and we're okay.
The boss minion has entered the battlefield.
Alright, so we should be pretty much 100% safe against this boss. And we want to put one of these right here. Oops, missed that completely.
The boss minion is down.
Alright, that is just about everything that we're going to need over here for pretty much most of the stage. We want to block off this area so enemies don't actually try to reach the rift through there. They won't be able to, so you're in pretty good hands there. Placed another stable hand here, and then we're going to come around here, and we want to make sure that we get a barricade that touches this corner here. Now if you set up two, see, oh whoops, didn't even have them selected. I have no idea why it switched though. Now they should be able to path around here. Yeah, because they won't let you block that off completely. But enemies are going to basically be pathing their way through here. And they will need to try to get through here at some point. Just a little bit. You can't block it off completely, which is kind of weird, but it's due to some pathing flags and me having blocked the area back there.
Will not reach the rift.
So let me stop wasting too much of my time.
The enemy army is attacking
Get that
on
there.
another front.
And what we want to do is we want to slow the enemies as they sort of group up over here. Gonna hit them with.
I do love traps.
Most of the enemies are going to be turning the corner. Here is a really safe space for us to be though, because most of them that are going to come out in the beginning are melee. No, you guys have gotten on me in the past about mispronouncing that, but I'm still going to do it out of habit. The Firewall Bracer makes a really good work of everything going through here. And we're going to want to point something this way, slow them down here. And it's still going to be a bit dangerous. Dropping one of these guys and backing up a bit is really good for you.
Get to it and destroy it.
But if you don't have that guardian placed over there, you're going to have to be very careful with anybody that's going this way. And you really don't have to worry about anybody going to the right path too much at all. I mean, it's bad because it slows you down, but overall, it doesn't actually cause you to lose immediately. If you're going for par though, that's really where that comes into play. When you get the opportunity, you want that barricaded. That will guarantee that your Floor Scorcher here does quite a bit more work than it would otherwise, because everything has to stay within its firing range. Alright, he gets zapped in the back. So we have everything basically being roasted down this lane here, which is really nice. You do want to try to save up a bit of coin for whatever is coming out of the rear gate there. For the most part, if you're sufficiently leveled, you can just bomb everything with the firewall bracers. If you don't have the firewall bracers, it's going to be a bit difficult unless you can sort of get... oh no. Gotta take the hits because I like my barricades and I don't want to lose my coin here. Too high. I managed to shoot him in the back. Those guys let me thread the needle. Invisible projectiles. Gotta love those. Anyway, those guys are gonna go through the back there, so I don't really have too much to worry about. Gonna set up another one of these, and that should, for the most part, be complete.
More explosions is always good, yes?
So what you'll notice from these guys, besides this seam existing here, you'll notice that I can't exactly place anything there easily. The seam is right along this area here. You should be alright.
They've broken through a gate.
Just want to get that firewall set up. And as long as it's active, everything that's coming out of here is 100% dead. There's more than one wave though. I believe there should be two.
A zap for you, and you, and you.
Could be wrong. That might be a later wave. Which means this is the time when I need to kill these guys to make sure that I'm not wasting time. Yep, it is a later wave. Okay. So this is the setup for this when you are using when you're using Great Wall barricades. You need to make sure that you place two here just to deal with the seam, and then you place a third one next to the wall to sort of handle everything else. So nothing can actually exit the rear. So you just get a ton of really easy, quick kills there. However, I believe the next time that the rear gate opens, we are getting a boss and some fire elementals. So you really want to be careful there. I don't think they'll get through the barricades that I have set up though, which should be pretty good. This is another one of those situations where nothing here is really going to get too far. If you're over here and you manage to deal a bit of damage to these trolls, they shouldn't actually get anywhere near your guardian, which is the only thing that anything over here will possibly be able to do. Deal a small bit of damage to your guardian. But overall, the traps that we have built over there are surprisingly effective at just keeping everything out. Alright, now.
An unstable rift is opening.
Yeah, let's get rid of you.
Destroy it. Destroy the unstable rift.
Alright, got a bit of some Healy stuff over here. Grab that. Let's put a little bit of fire around the corner here.
That goes there.
And then those ballista that I mentioned. And that should make it so that we really don't have to worry about too many things getting through over here. We could probably do one of these too. Do one of these. All right, and now that is going to take care of the majority of those. There's the Urza I mentioned before, and of course, fire elementals. Now we're really going to want to do
This is harder than
one of these guys to take them out. We don't want to have to rely strictly on placing traps there, just because they'll eventually fork your barricades. They managed to destroy one, which is good. If they got more than one, then we kind of have a problem. But just one we have the cash for. The other two should heal. And since it's not open the wave after, we're doing pretty good. Got about 2.5 minutes for these next waves. So we're just going to want to mash Z. I would have had a bit more time had I not waited explaining in the earlier waves, but it's kind of what I do. Again, getting some damage on the shield trolls is super important. Prevents them from trying to heal. And them not healing means they don't get to your guardian. Alright, what we're really interested in is whether or not anything gets sort of beyond what we have going through the rear here. Tick tick. He should be coming up on the right side thanks to the BGH ballista that we have back there. They should actually murder him without us having to do much of anything. As you can see, the fire traps that are leading sort of under that pass near the docks she'll eliminate just about everything, and we won't have too much coming through around the back here. The Floor Scorcher and the Spitfire should deal quite a bit of damage, with the Dragon Lance is taking out just about everything else really easily. I am surprised that didn't die. Drop a Guardian just because I can.
I may be old,
And that's
but
it.
I still appreciate the little things. Like
Beware, intruder.
So with some cheaper traps, that looks a little bit different, just because you can rely a bit more on placing a lot of traps and having them take enemies down, just due to the fact that they are less expensive and you can allow them more room to operate in. With more expensive traps, you really have to make sure that your placement is really tight. But obviously they do a really good job if you do so. So that said, we're going to be moving on to Frostbite next. Frostbite is a map that I actually have played a lot, and it has changed pretty significantly over time just due to the way that the enemies and everything else kind of spawn on it. Its current iteration is probably one of the most difficult maps in the game, especially if you catch it on a Chaos Trial or for Endless, but at the same time, that sort of makes it interesting. So I haven't completed this with Cygnus yet, and we'll go through and see how it works another day. Either way, thanks for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate it. Can't thank you guys enough for doing so, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you learned something, it's great. If you liked it in any way, for any reason, feel free to toss a thumbs up. If you didn't, you can go ahead and thumbs it down. But let me know either way, and if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to drop those in the comments as well. Either way, thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, take care of yourselves, and as always, have a good one, folks.